So I will continue where the previous speaker left, because to the Bell family.
The Bell family, yes. So you see, we have bridges, but it was not, I don't know, it was intended like this.
Yeah, I don't know, the organizers might have.
Yeah.
Okay, so between Constantinople and Vienna, regional specifics in arms compared to the family originated in Macedonia. And we will speak about the Bello family that have coat of arms. Okay, but let's start from the beginning. So, Macedonia was incorporated in the Serbian kingdom, and we only have some reflection of European heraldic practice emerging among several noblemen that ruled this part in the 14th region. My colleague Jovan Jonovski, in his presentation later on after the lunch, he will get into more specifics with this. But what Azovic says, it was more a heraldry of emblems, not of rules. And okay, we could just see this porcelain map of Andrei Bucerti 1339 with the town of Skopje and the flag above the fortress. But later on, with the Ottoman control and their Islamic view on symbolism, the coat of arms of those several noble families that were present at the time simply ceased. And when speaking about the personal heraldry, we have to search for those emigrating from Macedonia to European states and getting coat of arms there. So one of the important things we have to mention is the city of Moskopole, which was developed town in the most west point of Macedonia. Now it's near to Korča in Albania, neighboring Albania. And this village was first mentioned in the Ottoman censuses of 1568-69 with only 330 inhabitants. But it soon grew up and it saw its prosperity in the 18th century. Just to mention is, for example, the Grigor Constantini. He was an Orthodox monk. He was a scholar and typographer that opens the printing press in the 1730s, and he became a teacher of the new academy founded in 1743. And we could see that basically it was a thriving city, which it was mostly Ottoman or Vlachs city, and we have the crafts and trade and even banking flourishing in the town, and many of the businesses connected to the Habsburg monarchy, and many of the people even residing there. Something interesting from Moskopole, for example, the Joseph Vyosa II. He was born in Moskopole in 1660, and this is the coat of arms of his from the Golden Book that is in Yash in the archives. The last time we were here 2 years ago, when we went there with several of us to just see and to then I wrote an article later on this coat of arms. And he was enthroned in 1780. He did many, many good things, opening libraries, granting scholarship for young people to study the major. Actually, this was the last great Archbishop of Ohrid. Later on, we'll have many, many archbishops changing very swiftly until the abolition of Archbishopry of Ohrid. Another important person, Christopher Shefarovich, born in 1753, Macedonian painter, icon painter, engraver, and heraldic artist, mostly known for his translation of power letter with Stenatographia into Slavonic. He also worked on many printed icons, and from those icons we could see that he was also working or visiting and working in Ohrid and also in Moscow. Destruction of Moscopole actually happened in two waves. The first wave was 1769, and then in 1788 when Ali Pasha of Yanina destroyed this, as it says, wiped the rich, flourishing, progressive and large Armenian town of Moscopole from the face of the earth, and the population moved to neighboring towns of Korcha, Bitola, Krushevo, but many went to Constantinople, and a large percent went to Vienna. So in the Vienna archives, we'll just show three examples of people that in their letter patent says they are from Macedonia, or even from Moscopole. We have three coat of arms here presented, granted in the period of 1791 to 1793. And similar history will be faced by the Belio family. Family traditions of the Belio says that their origins are from the city of Pella in Macedonia, from which they took the surname Belio, and also the title the Macedonian, especially with Constantine. But basically they are born in Linotopi, and then moved to Moscopole, and then moved to Vlasti, because after the destruction of Moscopole by Ali Pasha from Yanina, and from there they went to Constantinople, then Vienna and Wallachia. Well, let's get there. Regarding the name, it's a little bit unlikely that the Belio family has taken the name from Pella, because at the time, the village, what left from the glorious ancient Macedonian capital of Pella, was left a little village that was called, inhabited by Slavs, with no Aromanian presence, and the name of the town was Postel, taken from the church of Saint Apostles nearby. And the name of Pella was only given back in 1926, only 13 years after the fall under the Greek state, after the Balkan Wars of 1912 and 1913. So before that, the name of Pella did not appear. So there are two hypotheses how they got their name. One is that they might got this from another Belio Romanian family from the area that went to Switzerland in 1706 and became very prominent. Or the other hypothesis is that maybe it comes from the river of Belica that runs into the region they came from, and what Belio in Macedonia means the white one. And Belio is the normal Macedonian man's name. Okay. What we know from the family tradition is that family began with George Belio, born in Linotopi somewhere in the 17th century, who had two sons, Dimitri and an unknown daughter. And Dimitri, on the other side, he has three sons, George, that we don't know much of him, and then the two important guys, Stefan and Constantine. Then we will just cover the main genealogy, and those persons that are with the red are those that will acquire titles from the court in Vienna. Mainly it's our important is Stefan and Constantine, and then from Stefan is his sons Alexander and Dimitri, and his grandson Bardo. So let's say something about those guys. Constantine Belio, he was a great banker, and he was ennobled on May 13, 1817 by the Emperor Ferdinand, who conferred him the title of Austrian Baron in 1825. He was important to us because of his legacy. He created a fund established in 1813. Actually, it was established after his death. The fund was done by his will of 1835. And the executive board was comprised of the dean of the university, councillor from the municipality of Munich, and a representative by a bishop of Castoria. Basically, this fund has three main aims. One was for healthcare aid of the poor families in Postal up to the 10 florins per year. Then he left in the will that his personal library will be transferred to Postal, but actually it ended up in the National Library in Athens in 1841. And the third thing, which is interesting for us, was a scholarship for young Macedonians for studying at the University of Munich, 2,000 florins a year. But soon it fund moved to Athens, and the scholarship for the Greek University, and the funds were managed by the Greek National Bank. And this is his stamp on the books saying that gift to the Macedonia by Baron Constantine Beliot the Macedonian, 1837, with his coat of arms, but will come later. One important thing is that the great Macedonian poet, Grigor Perlichev, he was educated, a translator, nationalist. He was receiving the Bellew Scholarship while he was studying medical studies in Athens in 1849 till 1853. So we have some still connection, but which is more very important is his legacy, that as a patriot and had a reflection on the other Macedonian patriotic organization, especially his appeal to his fellow countrymen Macedonians of 1838, which was published in Vienna, became a driving force for the forming of the organization of Young Macedonian Literary Society of the by Macedonian in Sofia in Bulgaria in 1891. They published a magazine, Loza, in the Macedonian dialect. And the first article basically was about the Constantine Bellew appeal. And members of these societies were many prominent Macedonian national actors, and many of them later will form the Macedonian Revolutionary Organization. And later on, we have the historical novel published in 2021 by Dragi Trajkov. It's called The Baron Pledge, and it's basically a romanization of history of Baron Constantine. So it has still vivid memories in Macedonia. Okay, we move to his brother, Stefan, the older brother. He moved, Constantine Bellew was, okay, yeah. So, now we have the connection of the family with the Prince Jovan Jonovski of Wallachia. Karađa original, and he was one of the Fanariot princes to Wallachia, which basically represents unique intersection of Ottoman imperial administration and the Greek cultural hegemony. So, Jovan Jonovski, he ruled from 1812 to 1818. He was born in Constantinople to the aristocratic family, and he benefited from this lineage. He gave 8,000 piastres to gain this title, which is normal at the time. And he was involved in an espionage affair in 1812 during the Eastern Crisis. You will read more details in the paper. What we have here is Coat of Arms of Karaja by Zib Maher, and we could see his coat of arms. Interesting is that it's given without the color, and even the text, Zib Maher does not mention the colors, but he makes, he speaks about the eagle of Moldova in his book. And we will see, we have to bear in mind the symbols we have here, which is the Wallachian raven, or eagle. We have the star, we have the unicorns, and we have the eagle here represented. On some other sources it's actually phoenix, but heraldic phoenix is basically eagle with a flame. Okay, so coat of arms of Belio family was conferred 3 times. First to Constantine, 1817, then on Dimitri and Alexandru Belu in 1856, and the last time on Barbu Belu in 1866 by Franz Josef. The blasons remains the same. The form is different. The first slide was we saw in a circle at the cover page. Then we have this one from 25. And if we speak about the blason, here is given, we could just go that what we have above the shield. We'll come to the shields later. Just above the shield, the coronet of an Austrian baron, and on the helmet befitting his degree, with mantling dexter sable and ore, and sinister azure and argent. And the crest is one from a crest coronet or an eagle displayed sable land goals. And now we'll go to the actual coat of arms, which is quarterly. First sable, a trident or. Second azure, a unicorn head coped argent. And the third rules, Bucephalus head contouring coped argent. It's very important that in the letters of patent is blazon as Bucephalus. So it's very important to us. It's not saying horse head, but it says Bucephalus. Then we have fourth argent, a raven, rising the garden sable and holding in its beak a long cross goes. An interesting part is the overall affairs of water wavy program. So what does those things think? So if you see, on the other side we have the Karaja or Karagea coat of arms. And if you look at this arm of Belio, of Constantine's Belio, you'll see that basically it looks like a coat of arms of office or something. But we could see that basically 2 fields are taken by the coat of arms of Karagea. But this is to show his position as a negotiator with the Ottomans and the Austrians. Basically, it's a kind of a coat of arms of position, which also had a personal touch. So we see that Wallachian raven from the first and unicorn from the third field, now they change to the second to the third. But the first 2, we have 2 new symbols, and also we have the river, the overall. And probably those fields are built to denote his position, and let's see what we could find with the quarter. First, the third quarter is of Alexander the Great, of course, Bucephalus. We cannot make mistakes here because Bucephalus is only tied with the legendary horse of Alexander the Macedonian. And thus, this is a way to point the designation of Macedonian the family would keep as a title, and showing the link to the Macedonians of the 19th century to the idea of Alexander the Great. Then we have the trident, which is a maritime weapon, especially attributed to Poseidon. So we don't have, or at least I don't have idea what it could symbolize, but maybe it symbolized the Black Sea, that is a connection between Constantinople and Wallachia, showing this part, and that overall fast wave of water undoubtedly points to a river. So now question is it a river Danube that basically defines three of the borders of Wallachia, southwest and east, and gives the name to the Danubian provinces, meaning Wallachia and Moldova, or the river is Belica, that probably gave the family name, or it simply could mean both of them. So now we have this connection between Vienna and Macedonia, or how it is monarchy. Too little complicated for a Bachelor of Physics. We have this contribution of coat of arms from people from Moscopole that have connection with heraldry, and also opening another chapter of heraldry, especially personal heraldry, connected to Macedonia. And at the end, as a conclusion, we could see that heraldry is a bridge between identity, geography, and policy, and we see the value of family as a case study of Macedonian diaspora nobility. We only mentioned 4 families here, but there are much more families, and hopefully that in the next time we'll write more about the rest of those prominent families with Macedonian origin. And I will finish it here. Any questions?
Thank you. I just have to add an explanation, because we are laughing, but we didn't tell that one of the Belio donated the land for the cemetery Belio in Bucharest. This is why we're laughing together. And when you visit Paris, I highly recommend the Marmottan Monet Museum, where you will see the famous Impression Soleil Levant, which gave the name of the Impressionist style in painting. Monet's Impression Soleil Levant. This museum is built on the collection of Georges de Belliot, Georges Baron de Belliot, who was a descendant of this family. And about the name, I don't know, maybe some research in Moscopole or in Corcea would be useful too, sometime, I don't know, because, for example, we had some projects there with the Romanian Cultural Institute and the Aromanian community. And one of the most active Aromanians in Corcea, with roots in Moscopole, his name is Pano Bello. Mm-hmm. Of course, he has some legends linked to the Belio. I don't know if they are true or not, but maybe some research would be useful there.
Yes. That's very interesting. We have to continue on that.
Please, questions, comments?
You will read more in the article. Stefan died without any children, so he gave away many to the state or to different funds, including the house estates, including the cemetery. And there is a lot, but I will give you a little bit more in the article.
And you will probably be interested in a future book. Our colleague Lucian Lefter is working on it. It's a book written by Prince Mihai Dimitrie Sturza about families from Balkans, not only Romanians and Romanians, but also Macedonians, Serbian, Bulgarian, etc. You'll find interesting things there. If there are no questions or comments,